Recently, we released a video showing the machining of this nozzle shroud component that we did in conjunction with Ellison Technologies and their blue chip group on a Heller HF3500 machine. We used Kennametal tooling for this project, and it had some interesting challenges. Really, the first challenge is that this part maximizes the work volume of the machine. And who hasn't had a part that really pushes the capabilities of their machine? And you need to get creative when that happens. So in this case, this machine is actually uniquely designed. It's a horizontal, so you have to index up to 90 degrees to get perpendicular to the spindle. Great for chip evacuation, great for a part like this where you're taking off tons of material. We were over 90% material removal on a 20-inch blank of material here, so lots of material coming off. But the design of this machine makes it so that it has more travel in the positive Y than the minus Y, which is actually a good thing. It allows you to do a bigger part with the same amount of Y-axis travel. And I'll show you how we can do that, right? If you were to center this component right on the table, as we did, and it was too large for the minus Y travel, you need to get creative to cut everything up on the positive Y. Let's take a quick look at some of the programming. And the first thing I'm going to look at is this facing operation. Now, typically, if I wanted to face the front of this part, I would just draw a circle around the part or chain the outer edge of the stock, run a facing operation along the top plane, and away we go. We get something like this, right? But if I run this facing operation on that machine, I'm going to actually get an over travel down here on the minus Y. The full Y travel, I can only get to about this pass, leaving a pass that's unfinished there. Plenty of room up in the positive Y to get it done. So how do we go about achieving this without over traveling on the machine? And one of the first ways, there's kind of three different ways to do this in Mastercam. One of the first, most simplistic, is just to break this into two toolpaths, right? First toolpath, done just as you think it would, in the top plane, and we just come down to about the halfway point of the part. Now, when we want to do the second half, here's where it gets a little interesting, right? If I were to just do this in the top plane and face it this way, I'd have a Y over travel down on the bottom of the part. But instead, I can create a new tool plane. Let's go over to planes here real quick and look at, this is the original tool plane for the original facing operation. If I use this for the lower facing operation, I'd have that over travel. But instead, I create another plane that has the Y-axis inverted. What this means is the first toolpath cuts across the top in positive Y. Then the part indexes 180 degrees, comes on the bottom side, and does the rest of the part. Both well within the Y travel of the machine. So pretty basic way to address these over travel concerns when you're utilizing a part that's this large on a machine. The next way we can do this, if we look at operation 12, right? This is just an outside contour operation. I'm using 2D dynamic mill just to get some material off the outer edge of the part. Now what's interesting here, if I backplot this, I'm just coming around the part and it looks like a pretty basic 3D operation. But if I were to just run this, I would have an over travel down here in the minus Y. Let's jump over to the video real quick and I'll show you how I got creative here to get around that over travel. And you can see this running. What's interesting here is that tool is actually not quite perpendicular to the part. I was able to take this 2D operation and convert it to 5-axis. And if we look at the tool axis control strategy that was used here, I made it a 4-axis operation, and the 4th axis is now at 89.5 degrees. Now, if it was at 90, this would basically be a 3-axis operation, but at 89.5 degrees, I'm a half a degree off, and that tool is off of 90 degrees from the part, and that makes that into a 5-axis operation. So rather than coming around to the bottom of the part, I stay up on the top and just index the C, as you'll see here. So I've got continuous C motion happening on that part as we come around. So kind of a creative way to get around some of these limitations. And it looks pretty neat on the machine when it's running too. So very, very efficient. The third and final way to get around this is using axis substitution. So if we look at these Operation 22, this is a 2D dynamic mill. It would typically be moving just in X and Y and doing a dynamic toolpath around the part. However, we'd have pretty much the same exact issue when we got down to the minus Y of this part. Right at this very edge, we get into some over travel issues with the machine. So I was able to go into the parameters here and use the rotary axis control page. And instead of having it on no rotation, which is typically what your 3-axis operations will be, I changed this to 3-axis and rotate about the Z. What this is going to do, and disclaimer here, your post has to be configured in a way that will allow this type of motion and utilize the rotary axis control. What this is going to do is substitute out the Y-axis, so the Y-axis linear motion, for C-axis motion. Very similar to how you would mill doing a C-axis operation on a lathe that does not have a Y-axis. So the end result there, a 2D dynamic operation that doesn't use Y, instead uses C, and we don't have to worry about Y-axis over travels here, right? We can access the whole part, and we've got a very, very efficient toolpath, runs very nicely, and removes a ton of material in the shortest amount of time possible. So the next time you're working on a part that maybe feels too big for your machine and you're running into axis over travels, know that Mastercam has the flexibility to give you the tools that you need to get in there and get that project done.